What's up, everybody? You know who it is. Burch The Messenger, man. That guy. So listen, in this video, before you skip, I want to introduce you to two individuals that will, in my opinion, set a lot of the records straight. Well, one guy in particular, but by way of Rock Newman and the Rock Newman Show, I'm going to be introducing to you guys on this video, which is going to be multiple parts on purpose. I don't want to give you one long video. I want you guys to come and take a look at these videos over and over and over again, but I want to give them to you in bite-sized, digestible pieces because there's going to be a lot of valuable information that is going to be shared in this video series. So what is it titled? Well, as you can see in the title, My People Are Destroyed for Lack of Knowledge. And those of you who are, you saints, y'all religious folks, you know that comes from the book of Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. But in this video, I want to give it to you in a different way. You know, the messenger, my goal is to inspire you to think differently about your situation starting today. The best way to do that is to give you information. So like the scripture says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That is facts. But here's the thing. It's not just a person of color thing. That's everybody. All people are destroyed. All people are destroyed for not having information, for not having the information that will set you free and set you on the right course. So in this video, starting multiple parts, I'm going to introduce you to Rock Newman, host of his own show held on the campus of Howard University. Also going to introduce you to a great historian, Tony Browder, who is going to start to set the record straight so that many of you can understand who you are, where you come from. And don't just wait till February. I know this just happens to be perfect timing, right? It wasn't that I waited for February to introduce this video. It just so happens to be February. But we should not wait till February to talk about what it means to be an African in the American experience. So when I return, we're going to jump straight into the interview, the first part of multiple part series. So make sure you come back because it's only going to get better from this particular one. But stay tuned because Tony Browder is about to bust you in the mouth with straight facts. Let's go.
Welcome to the Rock Newman Show. Thank you for
Rock,
being here.
it's a pleasure to be here, brother.
All right. Cultural memory specialist.
Yes, sir.
Where did that come from? Why? How did it come about? And what does it mean?
Well, it's a term that I coined about 2 years ago to describe the work that I'm doing. If we understand that the history of African people is a history that has been distorted, it's a history that has been perverted, and to a large extent, it's a history that's been erased. So my job is to go back and recover the fractured pieces of our history and then to share it with my audiences in such a way that it wakens them from the sleep, the deep sleep that we've been in, that we've been socialized to be in and accept as our normal state.
What's your thought as to why the history continues to be denied, erased, and obliterated?
Well, if we understand that today's date, 2015, is the 100th anniversary of Dr. Carter G. Woodson founding the Association for the Study of what was then Negro Life and History. It's now the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Dr. Woodson started that organization because he knew, as a Harvard-trained scholar, that the history of African people of African ancestry, so-called Negroes, so-called colored people, has intentionally been distorted. Hence his 1933 publication, The Miseducation of the Negro. So there was an intentional effort over the past 100 plus years to erase our memory after we had been stolen from the land of our ancestors and told that we were Negroes, told that we were colored, told that we were everything but a child of God. And so part of Dr. Woodson's efforts and those also of Dr. John Henry Clark is the 100th anniversary of his birth this year. So these are two men who I highly respect, who understood the importance of helping us restore our memory.
Who was the original man?
There's no question about the fact that the first human being, the first Homo sapiens sapiens, developed only in Africa, only in East Africa. You know, as a matter of fact, there is a new exhibit, a $20 million exhibit at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, This exhibit was funded by David Koch of the Koch brothers. It is an exhibit that is also being supported by the United States Congress, and it's in the David Koch Hall of Human Origins. In this exhibit, they acknowledge the fact that humanity only began in Africa, and that human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, are 200,000 years old. But another important aspect in this exhibit is that they state a historical truth that these Africans began migrating out of Africa into Asia around 60,000 years ago, and it was only about 40,000 years ago that groups of these same Africans began migrating to Western Asia, to the continent that we now call Europe. So in that regard, we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that the first Europeans were African.
So the most racist redneck in North Carolina today.
Or Washington, D.C.
Or Washington, D.C. If it follows that the original man was a black man.
Right. The original man was African specifically, because we know that based on the archaeological evidence, but we also know that fact based on the mitochondrial DNA. Back in 1987, a group of geneticists studied the oldest mitochondrial DNA. Now, mitochondrial DNA is that part of your cell structure that is passed on to you by your mother. So we all are familiar with the statement, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Everybody knows who the mama is. Daddy may be a question mark, but everyone knows who the mama is. And so by studying the mitochondrial DNA of a cross-section of so-called races and nationalities all around the world, these geneticists concluded that every person on this planet carries a mitochondrial DNA that has been traced to a group of women who are still living in Africa. Thus, there is no such thing as race. Race was a false construct created by racists in order to divide people based on color. So there is only one race, the human race, which had its origins in Africa. Thus, by extension, every person on this planet is of African ancestry.
Okay, y'all. So that was part one. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So can you see how powerful this information is? Now, in the next video, here's what we're going to lead off with. Here's the question Rock Newman is going to ask Tony Browder in the next video. Check this out.
Where was Jesus born?
That's a good question.
So you want to stay tuned for that. And here's what I know. For many of you who were raised religious, you are a saint today, self-proclaimed. Nobody gave that to you. Self-proclaimed. You know the Bible in and out. Well, then I highly suggest you stay tuned for the next series. But here's the more important piece. A lot of this information moving forward will create what's called cognitive dissonance in the minds of those who are hearing this information for the first time, and it's creating some discomfort in you. So please, don't shy away from things that you're not accustomed to or you're finding out for the first time. What I realize in life is change is necessary to evolve, to survive. Every organism that lives today has evolved over millions of years to be here today. So don't let this information that you're finding in these videos that's creating cognitive dissonance in you, don't let them turn you away, but rather tighten up that grip and surround yourself, really embrace this information so that you can get to your new season of positive living, better living, and you guys can start to free your mind and break out of this matrix. See you guys soon in the next video. Peace.